Bonjour mes amis, bienvenue, hello my friends, welcome, je m'appelle Kimberly, my name is Kimberly, and I'm from theparisitinerary.com. I am your go-to gal when it comes to planning your trip to Paris. So today I want to talk about a couple of things you can do when your itinerary it goes, bust. Something has interrupted it, your great plans are now not working out, and a couple of things that you can do. So, one of the things that's very important is to have a very good itinerary. And the reason for that is not only to have a plan of action, to know what you're going to do, to keep things organized and efficient, but it also is important because then it can tell you what you're deviating from. I always like to give the example if Karl Lagerfeld was to ask you for tea, you would know what you're giving up. So maybe you're like, go have tea with Karl Lagerfeld or go to the Louvre. Now, of course, we would all choose tea with Karl Lagerfeld. But some similar things have happened in the past that maybe not quite so glamorous. Strikes are extremely common in Paris. The employees at the Louvre have gone on strike. The employees at the Eiffel Tower have gone on strike. The employees at Versailles have gone on strike. Not, of course, to forget those transportation strikes that happen, that can happen all the time. So that can thwart your plans. Also, Mother Nature, just acts of God. Last summer, there was a lot of rain in Paris, and the Seine River kept rising and rising and rising. And so the Louvre actually was shut down because they took the artwork from the basement up to the ground levels to, in case of any kind of flooding. There were no boats that could go under the bridges, so those Seine cruises were halted. So things like that can always happen. Not to mention the most recent, if you happen to be in Paris when France won the World Cup, if you were planning to stroll down the Champs-Élysées, maybe visit the Arc de Triomphe, that was not happening. As well as the Champ de Mars was packed, where the Eiffel Tower is located. So there are many things that can happen to derail your plan. So I've got a couple of tips for you to kind of help you with that. Number one, and this is kind of go with the flow. I mean, that's travel. That kind of just happens. If you happen to have been there in Paris when France won the World Cup, how serendipitous. Perhaps that was just one of those times just to join in the revelry of everybody celebrating on the Champs-Élysées. So there's always that go with the flow. Of course, when you have strikes and you're not able to even get into the place you want to visit, there's not a lot of flow to go with. But do keep in mind, this is travel. This happens. Itineraries sometimes need to be shifted around. And so that leads me to my second tip, and that is there's always those things that you never are going to get to. They didn't make the cut from the first go around just because you didn't have the time, you didn't have the amount of days to visit those places. They're kind of like that second list of things that you want to do. Well, this is a great time to pull that out. So maybe you did want to visit the Champs-Élysées and the Arc de Triomphe, but unfortunately you couldn't because there were nearly the entire city of Paris on the street celebrating. So this would have been a great time. Maybe if Père Lachaise was on your list and it didn't make the initial cut just because you ran out of time in your itinerary planning. Well, this would have been a great time to go to visit Père Lachaise Cemetery. So keep in mind those second list things. Have those kind of in the back of your head in case your itinerary does kind of, get blown up. The third option, or the third suggestion that I have, is someplace that I think is really underutilized by tourists when they come to Paris, and that is the Paris Visitors Bureau. It has a wealth of information. The people who are there know a lot about the city. They speak English. They actually speak a number of languages, but if you are an American visiting and your French is not so great, go and talk to them. They can give you lots of ideas and suggestions. There's free pamphlets and booklets, and there's all sorts of things just to spend some time. So if you found out that that was the case and say the Louvre was closed and you weren't really sure what you wanted to do and you're not really a museum person, but you were just going to the Louvre because you wanted to see some of the famous artwork, perhaps there is some other museums or some other entertainment, some other places that you might be interested in that you hadn't thought of. So my third suggestion is to go to the Paris Visitor Center. I actually recommend that is something you do the first day you're in Paris anyway, because they have so much there that you can easily go through. And they also have the best free Paris Metro map. I've talked about it before. One side is the Metro map, the other side is a street map. And I know it's really like old school analog, but what if your Wi-Fi isn't working? Maybe you don't have an international plan. Maybe for some reason you just can't connect and you need to kind of see where you are. It's great to have as a backup anyway. So I always suggest you visit the Paris Visitor Center your first day if you can. But if not, then if you had some time where your schedule just gets out of whack, it's a great resource to go. Now I have a fourth bonus tip, but it is only available over at theparisitinerary.com. So be sure to go check out that bit.ly link that I'm posting here, and you can go find my fourth and probably my very best suggestion on what to do if your itinerary gets totally busted and you're not able to do what you had planned to do and you're a little bit stuck on what to do. Don't waste the time, but check out my fourth bonus tip over at theparisitinerary.com. And that's it for today. I will see you all later. Bees!